How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about Senseonics. It had quite the pullback inside of the market, ended up seeing a low at $1.40. I got some messages from some of you saying, hey Dre, I was able to load up on the dip. That is a good look right there. As you can see, been able to get a return on your investment if you were swinging it or if you're thinking about just getting into a position. I know many of you are already in it and you probably use the opportunity to average down. I won't waste any more time though. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder or you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is the technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance. We want to know what it looks like in the bearish case scenario and as well as in the bullish case scenario. And then we're going to be going on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information. The reason why this is important because it does have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know the buying and the selling behavior on the retail side and as well as on the institutional side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis for Senseonics. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $1.85, being up 15.63%. On the low, it tested $1.40, and then on the high, testing $1.87. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 24.322 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 30.885 million shares. So even though we did have below average volume on the day, we saw a lot of strength in the stock. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, you can see from the RSI down below, it is at 37. And then when we take a look at our moving averages, we are below the 200-day, the 100-day, the 50-day, and as well as the 21-day EMA. So as far as for the low, all the way at $1.40, we almost came close to filling in the gap that we have down here at $1.21. And to be honest, I would have loved if we would have been able to fill in this gap, because then I would have been like, you know what, this chart can really start making a move to the upside. But one thing that is very clear though, we ended up seeing a high at $1.87. So if we have a pullback going into tomorrow, I would love to see support hold up right here at $1.70. I feel that is very achievable, and even if we close at that level, that is not too bad either. But if it looks bullish and we see a lot of strength, especially coming into biotech plays, then I'm going to want to see us get past this $2 area. We know this is going to be a psychological area for Senseonics, and if it can break through it, then we want to look forward to seeing a further move. They do have earnings that is coming up on March the 15th, and I feel $2 is a possible area for them to get to. And as far as for the worst case scenario, if it has a bigger pullback below $1.70, then I want to see us hold up at least the $1.50 level. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for Senseonics. So as we scroll down further on the page, green rows indicate new positions while red rows indicate closed positions. So when we take a look at the recent filings, we just have here for February 22nd, we have AZBAX that purchased 20,800 shares, and we also have for the 18th Forum Financial Management LP that purchased 11,370 shares. And also another thing I want to bring to your attention, you can see as of late, institutions have been loading up heavy on Senseonics as well. And now when we take a look at the short interest, the off-exchange short volume ratio is at 37.04%, and then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 2.42 million shares. Scrolling down on the page, the short shares availability is at 400,000, updated 22 minutes ago, and then for the short borrow-free rate, it is at 18.51%. And then when we take a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of the 22nd, it was at 35.84, and then for the close of the 23rd, being at 37.04. So one thing that remains clear, Senseonics does continue to have short squeeze potential. So now let's move on to the order flow distribution. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for Senseonics. So we see on the inflows at 8.23, and then on the outflows at 5.72. So we ended up having an inflow day, and keep in mind these numbers are in the millions. Taking a look at the breakdown on the large, it was 0. On the medium, it was 4.73, and then on the small, it was 3.50. And then on the outflow side, you can see on the large, it was 0. On the medium, it was 3.97, and then on the small, it was 1.75. Taking a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you can see it was zeros down the board for the past 4 trading days. And then when we analyze the numbers even further for the small scale orders that tends to represent the retail side, we had more buying than we had selling. And then when we take a look at what happened on the medium, we had more buying than we had selling. And then when we take a look at the large, which represents whales, institutions, and funds, it was 0 on both sides. And then when we take a look at the turnover ratio, it was at 5.47%. So no surprises there. We already know how volatile this stock is. It did witness a pullback recently, and the fact that it pulled back even further to $1.40, that is quite the opportunity right there. And if you're a long-term investor, this is how you build out your position in companies that you have confidence in and have high conviction. And this is why it is very crucial, especially in the market environments that we're currently in. And that's why this stock was able to have a strong pop, because there was a lot of interest on the retail side. So now let's get into the final thoughts, and we'll go over some more details as well. So for my final thoughts for Senseonics, when it comes to the price action, I would love to see a move going to $2. One thing that is very clear though, this will be a psychological area. It closed at $1.85, and if we do have strength inside of the market, I think it is very achievable. If we're unable to pass $2 and we end up having a pullback, then I want to see us hold up at least $1.50. And another thing to be aware of, we do have a gap that needs to be filled to the downside right around $1.20. So you want to add this alongside with your homework, because if we end up having a pullback, they do have earnings going into next week, which is on March the 1st, then there's a possibility we could see those levels if we end up getting a disappointment. But we also can't forget the fact when they ended up getting that FDA approval for that 190-day device, they did come out and say as far as revenues are concerned for 2022, it is not going to be that much different from the revenues that they had in 2021. And of course, this ended up making the stock pull back a lot, because with that FDA approval, you would think that they would mention higher revenue guidance. But since they said that it's not going to be that much different, they could be sandbagging. So if the earnings do end up being good, we could see this stock actually race up. So it's definitely going to be interesting going into next week. But if you are a long-term investor, like I keep saying in the video, it was an opportunity to load up on a pretty nice dip. Also, when we went on Fintel, taking a look at the short interest information, it does continue to have short squeeze potential. No surprise, due to the fact there is a lot of negative market sentiment around the stock. But the great thing is, if they end up putting out that strong earnings, I can see this stock going back to the $3 level, and I know many of you will be excited about that. And we also do see that institutions have been loading up on shares as well. And there's also been a lot of rumors in regards to Senseonics being an acquisition target. If this does end up coming to fruition, then I'm going to see this stock pop, and I'm talking about going to around $4 to $5, especially since they do have great technology, and they've been showing, as far as on the operational side, they've been making some solid advancements. This 190-day device, I feel it's only the beginning. Remember, they're also working on a device that'll be good for 1 year. 365 days. When it's going to be ready, hey, we're going to be looking forward to them getting FDA approval for it sometime within 2 years. But if they do end up getting that, I think it could be a game changer. You guys can let me know inside of the comments. But for myself, as far as purchasing shares and so forth, I'm going to be waiting for that earnings to come out, and then I'm going to be making my decision from there. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll be talking real soon.